Hi! Welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to be talking about Mel's little man. I'll let you take over.
Okay, so this little boy has been a little awkward in pregnancy. At 20 weeks I had a normal scan as I thought, but they said to me I needed to come back because of his position. So they needed to kind of scan his heart and his face because they couldn't actually quite get a good shot. So I didn't think anything wrong with that. I've never had it before though, but they never kind of panicked me or anything like that. So went back, and this was, I was about 22 plus 3 I think by the time I went back. And unfortunately we were diagnosed that he had a heart condition, and it was devastating. Obviously, especially through the pregnancy, I could feel him obviously starting to kick. Didn't think anything was wrong, especially there was no indication at 20 weeks that there was going to be a problem.
And it was all very routine, wasn't it? It was just like, oh yeah, everything looks great. Couldn't see that properly though, so you can just come back and we'll check it.
So obviously emotional, cried my eyes out, didn't know what to think. Very, very surreal. Never had anything like that happen before. I've had 2 obviously pregnancies and they've been absolutely fine. And no one actually in my family or in my husband's family had this happen either, so it's quite unusual. So obviously
it is quite an unusual thing though anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were taken to a room. We were then told that we needed to go to see fetal medicine to then have a proper diagnosis of what was actually going on with this little boy. By then, obviously, I was panicking, thinking, oh God, you know, what is wrong? Obviously, we knew it was the heart, but we didn't know exactly what was happening.
What the overall diagnosis would be and how bad it was going to be.
So they said, we'll try and get you in today or in the morning. So luckily we got in the next day and really early in the morning, so we didn't have, like, you know, because obviously things go through your head, and if they left it too long, you're kind of going to be panicking, getting worse. My anxiety, obviously, I suffer with.
It's through the roof.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was just overnight. So the next day we had a scan early in the morning, and was diagnosed at the time with it was basically his arteries around the wrong way, but we were told at the time that obviously this could change because we needed to go then to Great Ormond Street, because they have better scanners to make sure that this diagnosis was obviously accurate.
And obviously they have more specialised specialists down at Great Ormond Street for this kind of thing.
Yeah, so we were run down with obviously if this was the case, what would actually happen, and he would need heart surgery as soon as he was born, that I would probably have to give birth in London rather than at my local hospital, that he would have to be in obviously hospital for quite some time. So it was we were given obviously other options as well, which is heartbreaking that someone would have to say that to you, especially when you can feel, at the time I was feeling him kick.
So for people that don't know, the other options of course would be to end the pregnancy by termination. So you were given the choice of either doing that
or carrying
on and having all of the tests and extra scans and
absolutely,
you know, going with what will be, basically.
We were told that obviously this heart condition that we were diagnosed with at first was something more that could be linked with chromosome problems. Even though all my tests came back normal, there still could be that chance. So that was also another thing, because of then that's some of them were very life limiting because of if that was the diagnosis as well. So obviously you've got all that going on in your head, and it was a week, just under a week, that I had to wait till I went to Great Ormond Street to know the actual outcome. It did change the diagnosis in a way, slightly better for us and for him, but a rarer condition. So what he actually has is congenitally corrected transposition, which means his heart is pretty much the wrong way around. That does mean it's better for him because it actually works.
His heart is functioning, but isn't it that the bit that's supposed to pump blood to the lungs is pumping to the body. And the bit that's supposed to pump blood to the body is pumping to the lungs. So
it works, but it may not work as efficient in the future.
But effectively, the bit that's supposed to be big enough and strong enough to pump to the body is pumping to the smaller area of the lungs, and the bit that's only supposed to pump to a small area is having to pump to a bigger area. So obviously it's probably a bit more strain on his heart, isn't it?
Yeah. The moment from all the scans we've had so far from so we've been there now I think it was about 23 weeks just gone. So, and
he's
now
been up and down there quite a few times.
Yeah, and every time his heart is doing really well. There's no other indications there's other problems with his heart, because a lot of the time when we went to Gosh, they've told us that obviously there's things that people may have that will be extra on top of these, and he hasn't.
Didn't they say that some people might have had this and never known?
Yeah, some people have been run down by a bus, and at a post-mortem they could be 90 years old and actually find out that they've had this condition all their life and never had an issue, or may have had some niggly issues but never enough to make an issue long term to find out what's actually gone on with their heart.
Which is actually like really encouraging and good, because it means that actually he might be born and be absolutely fine and not need any intervention whatsoever, you know, not need any heart surgeries or anything, which would be like awesome. That would be the best case scenario. But they've got you on standby and preparing yourself that something might need to be done, or that he might not cope as well as expected. So it's a little bit unsure, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's daunting, especially with this birth, that is he definitely going to be okay, because obviously they're 90% sure that he should be much better than they really expected at first, but there's still that 10% of not knowing really, I suppose, in a way. A lot of the time they said that they may not need any intervention until sort of like later on in life, because of the cable that goes to the heart is slightly in a different position because of it being flipped around, so that can sometimes lead to problems that may need a pacemaker in as young as like 4 years old, basically. So yeah, it's been an emotional one, definitely. But I think
you've been so strong and so brave, both of you. You really have.
Yeah, I think you realise that you need to be as strong as you possibly can, because if this little one needs you know, everything you can give him. And obviously I don't want my other children to feel that there's anything really wrong, because there may not be. I mean, he could live 30 to 40 without any issues whatsoever. He may have issues in the future. We're unsure, but who knows? You know, it's a miracle that it's actually turned around this way, and it's a much better diagnosis in a way. Rarer and a lot harder to treat mainly, but it's you know, it's something that day to day we're dealing with, and you know, we'll see what happens. You know, I'm 34 plus, what's today? 34 plus 4, no, 35 plus 4 now. So I'm nearly at my due date. Wow. I've now got to decide.
Oh my goodness, that's so scary.
Yeah. So it's less than 5 weeks. So I can't believe I'm at this stage now, especially to think like how many appointments.
To meet him. I am so excited to meet him.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what he looks like. I'm just trying to work out which child he's going to look like more.
Yeah, it's going to be strange. So we will keep you updated with Mel's progress and all of Mel's other appointments and anything else that is updated with his condition. But I'm sure that Mel would love to hear from anyone else who has had similar experiences, or maybe even the same. I'm sure you'd really love to hear from some other mums who have gone through this. You know, whatever the outcome may have been, whether, you know, you can give Mel some encouragement and say, yep, I was told the same and my child is absolutely fine. That would be lovely to hear. So if anyone has experienced the same, leave a comment in the box below for Mel, and she'll have a read and get back to you. So
Yeah,
that's
we'll see what
that's
happens
it from
now.
us. But yeah, we'll keep you updated, and yeah, wish Mel luck.
Thank you.
Bye.